Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sunil Rajguru, editor of Dataquest, and your host for today's live webinar. A warm welcome to you all, and thank you for joining us for our discussion today around next generation secured cloud in your DC. We'll have detailed presentations, a fireside chat, and a Q&A session at the end. So please be ready with your questions. So with that, let's go to the opening note. Hi. So, as you can see, the theme of the era is digital transformation. But what does digital transformation mean? So, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Sunil Rajguru. I am editor of Dataquest magazine, and you can get in touch with me in the following handles. Now, we talk that we are already living in a cloud world. Like some people think that cloud is not something which they are doing. Cloud is something else. So in a way, in the 90s when we started doing email, we put one foot into the cloud. But today, if you see, everything is predominantly on the cloud. So I mean, if you look at the trifecta of the cloud, then first is like you have huge data centers called hyperscale data centers. You required hundreds of them sometime back. Maybe you require thousands of that, but those are just hyperscale centers. If you look at the total number of data centers in the world, they're in the terms of millions. Then if you look at devices, it's billions, and we transfer trillions of GB of data a day. So a typical day on the internet, on the cloud rather, is millions of data centers being at the center of billions of devices and trillions of GB of data flitting all the time. So we cannot even imagine. All this happens as we are hosting this webinar, as we check our WhatsApp messages, email, social media, anything. So, one thing that the pandemic did was it accelerated everything. I mean, we were already on the path to going on the cloud for digital transformation, but the pandemic accelerated everything. It accelerated almost any technology that you could think of. But actually, the biggest acceleration was the cloud. I would say, like, cloud no longer is an option. You have to get on the cloud, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your professional life, you have to be on the cloud if you want to maintain a 24/7 365 business. Because it's not just the pandemic, you could have disasters, you could have outages, you could have anything. So cloud is a solution to everything. And there was a term, they used to say digital native. This company is not digital native, that is digital native. But I think the term now is cloud native. From now on, even a small business, you have to be born on the cloud. And digital transformation will revolve around the cloud. So anyway, that's it from my side. So if you have any questions, you can mail me to this. So meanwhile, I think before we begin, there's a video. So I think let's view that video first.
Do you need an agile and intelligent engineered system designed for rapid and automated private cloud deployment? Oracle Private Cloud Appliance is an integrated, scalable, wire-once, software-defined infrastructure system that radically simplifies the way you install, deploy, and manage virtual environments. It's an on-premises, cloud-native converged infrastructure that lets you efficiently consolidate a wide range of middleware and application workloads with fewer resources. You can simplify, automate, deploy, and auto-scale highly available Kubernetes clusters in 30 minutes. It supports a wide range of operating system versions hosted in a converged server, network, and storage platform to deploy applications in medium to large data centers. And the price-to-performance ratio with Oracle PCA is 40% better than DIY. When directly connected with Oracle Exadata, the fastest Oracle database appliance, Oracle Private Cloud Appliance provides a complete data center solution, which can extend easily into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Go from power on to production in hours instead of weeks or even months with Oracle Private Cloud Appliance.
Thank you for that video. I hope all of you enjoyed it. Now let's get on with the show. So now I present Ramakrishna Bhamidhimukkula, Senior Manager, Solution Engineering, Hybrid Cloud System, Oracle India. So let me just tell you, before he comes on the screen, let me tell you a bit about him. Now, Ramakrishna has about 22 years of industry experience in IT hardware sales and solutioning and over 12 years of solution consulting experience on infrastructure modernization solutions and consulting. He has worked extensively in government, PSU, and BFSI verticals. Welcome, Ramakrishna.
Hi, thank you, Sunil, for that nice introduction. Uh, Let me share my screen. Before that, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session of Oracle Private Cloud Appliance uh, integrated for cloud environment. Basically, this is an appliance which is integrated for cloud environment. As Sunil was mentioning, we are talking about cloud everywhere, and we just wanted to uh, walk you through an environment which can be built in your own data center before you actually move to the cloud. Even if you are moving to the cloud or you are already in the cloud environment, there are environments where you should have a private cloud environment within your data center where hybrid cloud and multi-cloud environments are prevailing in the industry. So let me go through the industry trend in terms of where we are there in the cloud and how the cloud adoption is happening across the industry. So when we look at the cloud adoption or a public cloud usage across the industry, Gartner has determined that the cloud adoption is fast growing, as Sunil already mentioned, and it will be 2.5 times adoption by the time we hit 2026. And the main reason for cloud adoption is not only the technology advancement or catching up with the industry, it's also about bringing down the IT spend, right? IT spend also, the costs when you move to cloud are drastically driven down in terms of like maybe 17 to 20% cost reduction is happening. But while you are moving to the cloud, but there are certain environments which you cannot really move to cloud straightforward. So there are technologies or strategies which are adopted by various organizations, which are predominantly called hybrid cloud strategy or multi-cloud environments, right? Whether you are already in the cloud or you are planning to move to the cloud, there needs to be an environment which has to work with the cloud, because not every application which is there in your organization or the environment will be moving to the cloud or will be compatible with the public cloud environment. So you need to have certain environments which are still on premise. That's where the private cloud will prevail, and uh, it will take the lead, right? So there is a study that up to 70%, right, up to maybe more than that, would be adopting hybrid cloud strategies across organizations. So when I move to the reasons for which the customers or the organizations are uh, adopting private cloud environments or the hybrid cloud environments is mainly of three reasons, right? One is there are security concerns or the data residency issues which are prevailing because of the regulations or the organization policies that they should not put their data outside in the public domain. So that's where the challenge is there, that they cannot be moving to a public cloud environment. And there is an apprehension, or there are certain applications which need high speed networks or very low latency environments, which is actually uh, may not be provided at the public cloud environment. That's one of the perceptions or apprehensions some of the customers has. So the response times to users or the application users is also a concern there. There is also a perceived risk that there are in public cloud environment there are multi-tenancies or the noisy neighbor scenarios, right? So there can be other organizations sitting next to your rack or next to your environment within the same public cloud data center, right? So those are the perceived conception, perceived risks or perceived apprehensions what customers or the organizations have for them to move to the cloud. Other than that, before you move to the cloud, there needs to be environment which has to be, the workloads are to be compatible or transitionable to the cloud platform, right? So you need a modern infrastructure which is optimized to run your workloads, whether you are on premise or on cloud, right? So that's where our solution of private cloud appliance brings in all optimization and modernization in terms of infrastructure. And this is important. One point I'll take from Sunil's statement, that when we are actually talking about reducing the data center footprint, which is billions or millions of data centers or servers, and a huge amount of data which is moving across data centers, right? So when we are moving out of that environment and moving to public data centers by adopting cloud strategy, uh, then the ideal scenario is within your premises, within your data centers, the size of the data centers will drastically come down. So you have to optimize the size of your data center footprint. That's where the solution what you should have has to provide better core density or a server density per rack, or within lesser space you should have maximum number of compute servers or compute power, right? That's the optimization we bring in with the private cloud appliance. Not only that, as I mentioned, cloud adoption brings the cost down. So when you are not able to adopt the public cloud strategy, if you are going with a hybrid cloud strategy, you should also be looking at cost reduction, which is also also the prime driver of these kind of hybrid cloud strategies, right? The other thing is, as a journey towards cloud, the adoption towards the cloud, uh, whenever you are planning to move the same workloads which are on premise to the cloud environment, there should be a smooth transition. The workloads has to be what do you call uh, optimized to run in the cloud or move to the cloud, right? So that optimization comes with environments which you create within the workload or the application which we deploy on the private cloud environment. So the word what Mr. Sunil has mentioned about digital native to cloud native. So the cloud native is the keyword or a buzzword which will prevail when you are talking about applications or workloads which needs to be moved to the cloud. So the cloud native environment has to be in the private cloud environment as well. Whenever you're planning to move to the cloud, or you must have heard about multi-cloud environments, right? There can be workloads which are running in the public cloud environment, and also you will be having private cloud environment which is talking to the workloads which are in the public cloud environment. There needs to be a exchange of services between them, right? So in that case also you need to have a similar cloud native environment or a containerization which is required, right? So this is what we need to think before we are moving to a public cloud or a private cloud environment we are creating in on premise. So what we bring in is a solution which can be developed once and deployed wherever you need, right? So the solution what we bring in can be developed with cloud native environment which is optimized to run on a cloud platform, and then deploy it in on premise in a private cloud environment, or just move to a public cloud as and when you feel like moving into it, right? So when I come to the actual solution, right, the private cloud appliance, the X9 is the latest model, of course, which brings in an integrated platform which integrates a pre-configured compute, storage, network, and other management software to manage your private cloud environment, and also optimize to run your applications, middleware, all the applications which you want to run on a cloud native environment, right? So that is already there as part of optimization of this platform. And the portability to move to public cloud, or vice versa, like you can move your workloads which are running on public cloud. If you feel that that needs to be moved to a private cloud, you can do that. Highly compatible with public cloud environments to maybe share the services across private and public clouds. Being a hybrid cloud strategy adopter, you can actually use some of the APIs which are built in within this platform, right? So, and also whenever you are enterprises look for a multi-tier application environment where they would prefer to place their database workloads on highly optimized platforms like Oracle Exadata, which is the best platform for your database workloads. If you are placing your database workloads on such optimized platform like Exadata, you need a direct low latency connectivity, high speed connectivity to your application tier, to the database tier. So which can be provided, which can be configured with private cloud appliance. And overall, end of the day, every organization looks to bring down the cost, right? So there are a lot of integrated software and virtualization, and also certain trusted partitioning policies which highly drive the TCO very low. So let us see what kind of I'll put up a question. Let us see what kind of a cost reduction we'll be looking at by adopting such platforms. Ashok, can you put up the poll question, please? Yeah, so with a PCA, in what kind of a cost reduction you should be looking at, right? So I think there is a technical glitch here. The answer is already there in the question. So it's 70%, right? Ashok, can you just close the question, please? Yeah, so it's actually 70%. It's the answer is within the question. There was a technical glitch. So let me just go back to my presentation. Yeah, so as I mentioned, you will drive down the costs by 70% by adopting a private cloud environment, which also includes a cloud native environment, container based platforms, right? So this is actually built exactly like what we provide as Oracle in the Oracle public cloud platform, which we call it as Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, right? Oracle Cloud Infrastructure adopts a containerized platform. The same platform is being adopted on the private cloud environment as well. So you don't see any difference between a public cloud if you're deploying on a Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and the private cloud if it is a PCA, right? The other thing is the applications which are deployed on the private cloud appliance should be portable enough to move to a public cloud platform, which is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. There are enough tools and environments which are provided within the private cloud appliance to migrate between public and private cloud platforms. We also provide the APIs, the software defined platforms to enable the users to experience the cloud like scenario. Every functionality we provide as part of private cloud is using APIs. So you can build your own APIs, bring in marketly available APIs to integrate with various platforms within your environment. Those things can be done. And the other important aspect is how do you manage your cloud native environment? Predominantly in across industry, it is Kubernetes platform which is deployed to manage clustered environments, orchestrated environments on cloud platforms. Kubernetes is already built in a tool as part of our cloud native offering, and then the other tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and then cloud automation or application automation tools like Terraform is also being built into this particular system. And we always proposed to, like, as part of application modernization methodology. So CI/CD is the methodology which is adopted across industry, which is also being adopted in the cloud platforms to avoid larger development cycles, testing cycles. So continuous integration and continuous development is what the users are or the developer community is adopting across industry. So which is also being adopted on this platform to reduce your downtimes and the development cycle, right? To come back to the platform as such, right? Private cloud appliance is an integrated platform which can provide scalability and also provide integration across multiple services, whether it is a compute service, storage service, or a containers management, everything. And also it provides isolation to various environments. If you are hosting a private cloud within your organization, providing a private cloud services. Let's say you are a cloud service provider to your own organization departments, or you may be a cloud service provider for various clients of yours, right? You can deploy this private cloud appliance within your data center and create isolation between various departments or various user groups which you may be offering as a private cloud solution, right? Which is obtained through various tenancies, compartmentalization, all that. And when I say scalability, the within a form, we talked about like high dense environments within a rack, like and there must be number of cores which you need to consolidate within a 42 rack kind of an environment. Like so we can go up to 1000 cores, 1000 plus cores within a single 42 rack environment. So you are actually bringing down your data centers to a rack level, right? So bringing down the data center cost, bringing down the data center footprint to a rack level. That is the kind of solution we are talking about. And a clear demarcation in terms of who is the administrator, who is the user, the customer enclave is provided to the cloud users. If a particular department, let's say finance department, comes and says that I need a cloud environment for myself, the IT will provide them a tenancy or a compartment within a tenancy and say that this is your environment, you manage your environment. Then that becomes the user environment, and user and the service enclave where you will have the management or the administrator who will be administrating in terms of what all needs to be provisioned to the different users who are coming and opting for a private cloud environment within your organization. So it's exactly like a public cloud scenario. When you go to a public cloud service provider like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or Oracle for that matter, you subscribe for certain resources within the cloud environment. It can be a infrastructure as a service or a platform as a service. The same kind of services you can offer to your own users as part of a private cloud strategy, right? So that can be done, and the scalability provides to span across departments within your organization. It is highly enterprise scalable solution. Of course, the availability part of it is also defined like fault domains, and storage scalability is also provided to petabytes in terms of up to 8 petabytes, right? So other thing which I would want to touch upon is delivering consistency across development and deployment environments. If whether it is a public cloud environment or a private cloud environment, the consistency should be there, which is what we are trying to maintain on this platform. So all the tools which you will be using as part of a public cloud user, if you are subscribing to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, the same tools will be available, the same APIs will be available for you on the private cloud environment as well. So there is highly compatible environment with the OCI platform. So the other thing is the developer community wants to develop their containerized applications, modernize their applications using microservices architecture. They can use the inbuilt cloud native tools which are offered within the Oracle private cloud, right? and it is one platform to modernize your applications, infrastructure, everything, and consolidate everything onto a single platform. You can modernize your applications. You can use your legacy applications also in the same environment. It is a single platform to keep everything together and consolidate your workloads onto this highly dense, highly consolidated platform. And at the end of the day, the reason why we are not moving to public cloud is to have some kind of a control on the on-premise, right? So whatever reason, maybe the data security, sovereignty reasons, or you cannot move to a public cloud environment, or latency issues, whatever it may be the reason, you want to keep the control on the on-premise, which is completely available on the private cloud appliance. And the other aspect is we can provide, we can, and we are the only ones who can provide private cloud appliance direct connectivity to highly optimized best platform to run your database environments like Exadata environments, right? So when you are connecting to an Exadata from a PCA, which is a private cloud appliance, the connectivity speed comes up to 50 gigabytes per second from each database server. So that means it's not only about the connectivity and low latency between application and database, it's also about exposing your database environment to the other network, right? Normally, when you connect a private cloud appliance directly to the Exadata environment, the database is only exposed to the application tier, not to the entire network outside the application tier. So that's how it is actually a secure connectivity and also provides high speed bandwidth, right? So that's how you improve your performance on the database, as well as secure your databases to be exposed within your network environments, right? So that is one added advantage on direct connectivity. And when I come to actual PCA, what all we provide within PCA, right? So the private cloud appliance comes with a complete service offerings, which are predominantly the cloud services. Whenever you subscribe to a cloud service, which is predominantly IaaS kind of an environment, so you offer for you choose to have infrastructure services like compute, storage, and networks, and also the access controls to various user groups. All that is provided as part of private cloud appliance as an integrated solution. You get your compute resources, and you can deploy your VMs as various shapes which are available. Whenever user comes for an environment, ask for a VM to be deployed, you can deploy it, provision it, and then you can provision storage services, whether it is block storage service, or file storage service, or object storage service. You can provide storage services, and also you can differentiate the user groups and provide them with various access levels using the identity and access management, which is already built into the solution, right? So that is one part of the services. Whereas how do you manage literally when you are creating a private cloud appliance, you need to have some kind of a management tools which are required to provide a management for administrating the private cloud, and at the same time providing services to the business, right? Various services which has to be high available, and also in line with the services which will be offered by any cloud provider. So that is how you will be really close to public cloud environments. So all that services, or all the tools which required to render those services, are already being integrated as part of our solution in the private cloud appliance. When I talk about the tools which needs to be used to monitor and manage your environment, there are Grafana and Prometheus, which is actually the monitoring and management tools which are embedded. You can create your dashboards of managing your private cloud environment. and also integrate these tools with the other management tools which are available as part of your data center or as part of your environment within your organization. If you are using any management tools, third-party management tools, you can actually integrate this tool with other tools using certain APIs. APIs are also available as part of our private cloud appliance, which are highly compatible, and in fact, which are a subset of the APIs which are available in the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So you can use most of those APIs which are available in the public cloud environment to connect to various services across the private public cloud environments, and also deploy third-party services if they are available in the marketplace. And the other important aspect is how your development community or a developer community looks this environment. Whenever a developer community comes to deploy their environments, they need certain tools in terms of modernizing their application platforms or developing their environments using a CI/CD methodology. So all those tools which are available as part of private cloud appliance, which also includes certain automation tools. The other important aspect is when you are creating such a large consolidated environment, which needs to be addressing the business continuity issues. There cannot be downtimes because everything is running out of this private cloud environment. So the design itself provides a fault domain architecture, exactly like your cloud environments, public cloud environments. We create multiple fault domains within that particular private cloud appliance, and also we provide disaster recovery solutions, which we'll discuss in detail in the upcoming slides. And one more poll question I would like to present to you, which is regarding your cloud native environment. Ashok, can you just populate the question, please? Yeah. So what do you think, like when you deploy a PCA or a private cloud appliance, how soon you can actually create a Kubernetes cluster in that environment? So Kubernetes being the key component in a private cloud or a public cloud environment to manage the cluster or to orchestrate the cluster, the Kubernetes platform needs to be there in the environment. How soon you can do that? Yeah, let us see what kind of a response we have. We'll wait for a minute. Yeah, so we have the responses.
Yeah, a few moments more.
Yeah, sure. That's great. So we actually provide that Kubernetes deployment within 30 minutes. So most of you are right, and we can offer this within 30 minutes. So that fast you can actually create. It's actually directly integrated dashboard from the PCA management dashboard. That's how we provide. So there are multiple tools, not only the Kubernetes environment. It's a complete cloud native environment. We call it as Oracle Cloud Native Environment. Oracle Cloud Native Environment is part of your private cloud appliance subscription. So Oracle Cloud Native Environments provides access to the private cloud appliance users or the private cloud appliance customers, that they will be entitled to use the entire cloud native environment tools which are pre-built into this Oracle Cloud Native environment, which is a pre-configured VM environment, Oracle virtualization environment, and also provisioning tools which are available as part of provisioning various VMs, various services, storage services, compute services, all that services, and also the management and orchestration part of it through Kubernetes, which is an integrated dashboard. You can directly launch your Kubernetes cluster using private cloud appliance dashboard itself. Various runtime environments which are required, containerize your environments, all that is possible. And also management and monitoring through observability tools like Prometheus and Grafana. And apart from that, we also provide a certain application automation tools like Terraform or Ansible, and we provide all this environment is available as part of Oracle Cloud Native environment, and every private cloud appliance customer is entitled to avail this environment, and support is also provided from Oracle on this Oracle Cloud Native environment. So typically in a traditional environment, if you are building your own private cloud, or if you are using any of these tools which are predominantly available in open source community, right? So you would be depending on community support for all these tools. But as part of a private cloud appliance, we actually offer support for these tools as well. Not only providing the tools, but we also provide the support for these tools. We also actually have automated certain process deployment of private cloud appliance itself, right? When you are creating a private cloud or a cloud environment, there are so many things which you need to configure as an administrator who is managing the private cloud. You need to create multiple environments here. So for that, we have actually designed a toolkit, right? One is called like Oracle Oci Designer Toolkit, OKit, or Oracle OCI Designer Toolkit. This toolkit offers you an automation in terms of designing your private cloud environment or the entire cloud infrastructure within your organization using drag and drop options to draw your environment. You can draw your VCNs, you can draw your networks, you can draw your gateways, how the communication should happen between various subnets and various VCNs, how the communication should flow out of your environment within the PC environment, how it should flow, what kind of IP addresses you should assign. All that can be done using this particular OCI toolkit. And once you design your toolkit, you just transform this particular design into a Ansible or a Terraform script. Once this script is generated, you just deploy the script, you run the script into a private cloud appliance, a PCA. Entire environment is created. The script itself automates creation of the environment what you've designed on a drawing board, right? You just draw your environment on the drawing board using this designer toolkit and just deploy it automatically using a Terraform script or an Ansible script, right? And the same Ansible script can be exported to an external environment like OCI or any other cloud environment. That means like a public cloud environment like OCI, and then there also you can deploy the same environment. So you can actually replicate environments. You can automate deployment. This is why we are saying time to deploy, a faster time to deploy a private cloud appliance is highly optimized. And we in the initial video of introduction you have seen, right, deploying a private cloud appliance is not days or months, it's actually in hours, right? You can do that. So all this automation helps you to do that. And I'm just probably repeating the part of what exactly we provide as part of Oracle Private Cloud Appliance. We bring in compute, network, storage services as a service, right? As a service which is normally offered as a service or a subscription service in the public cloud environment. You can also provide the same kind of a service or deploy the same kind of service on the private cloud appliance, including the identity and access management, which is SML 2.0 certified. That means it is industry compatible in open standard. So you are not deploying something which is very proprietary, cumbersome, customized, nothing. It's industry standard identity and access management solution which is offered. And the same, if you are offering various cloud services to your users or to your clients, your client can be your own user departments, the client can be your end customer. You can offer this as a service out of your private cloud appliance, right? You deploy a private cloud appliance, you say that you are the cloud provider for your user clients or user groups, right? So you can actually deploy them as a service. So the user can connect to you and ask for a service, and then uh, he can deploy any platform. So because this private cloud appliance is a consolidation platform for various application and middleware platforms, so you can run any and everything. Like you can see most of the operating system platforms which predominantly run on on an x86 environment are listed out here. Any and every operating system which is listed out here can be deployed. That means any and every application or a middleware which can run on these operating system platforms can be deployed onto a private cloud appliance, right? And then you will also see a clear demarcation or a differentiation between who is managing what. And there is a clear system admin who will be managing and monitoring the PCA as such. PCA means private cloud appliance. The entire appliance as such is managed by a system admin. He decides, or he or she decides, what would be the enclosure, what kind of compute he would need, what kind of storage network resources he would need as a complete organization. Since the private cloud appliance can scale from a 3 compute node to 18 compute node, and a storage from a 180 TB to 8.4 petabyte. So you can decide what is required for your organization. You need not buy the entire private cloud appliance at one shot. You can actually um, um, buy or implement as much as you want, right? So that part of the system admin, and who all needs what kind of a compute, like which department wants what compute, what resources, the system admin will manage and deploy those resources. And as a tenancy admin, you can create multiple tenancies. As I mentioned, you can create up to 8 tenancies. You can create multiple tenancies, and each tenancy can have its own policies, its own user groups, its own compartments within each tenancy. A tenancy can be a department. Tenancy can be one of your clients. Tenancy can be a group. A tenancy can be a particular application. And for each of those tenancies, you can create policies, services, everything as per your requirements. And that will be the tenancy admin who will be doing that. There is a cloud user, right? End of the day, as a user of a particular department or a particular workload, I would need certain VMs to be deployed. How I will manage my own VM, how I will manage my own containers, how will I manage my application. As a user, I should be able to define and manage that. For that, user level access, user level policies are defined, and user himself can deploy a VM, can deploy a container. He can decide when to kill the VM, when to initiate the VM, when to run it. All that he can do that. So the lifecycle management of the VM and the container, or deployment of VM and container, can be user level accesses, right? So there is a clear identified roles and responsibilities which will provide better access, better management of resources, which a private cloud appliance can provide. So it's completely like what you see in a public cloud environment. You can be a cloud service provider to your teams if you are um, a core IT organization, right? So that's about how the appliance is. Within the appliance, whatever policies, features, tools which we provide, we have talked about. But end of the day, if the appliance goes down, is there a disaster recovery available? Yes, we provide a disaster recovery solution as part of our private cloud appliance. You can have a DC site and a DR site, the site A and site B, for example. You can deploy both the sites with private cloud appliance, and there is a required amount of tools. When I say tools, the software required to replicate the data between sites, that is most important. You can have DC and DR sites, but unless the data is replicated between the sites, there is no use. So the replication methodologies can be a storage based replication or a database based replication. If you are using Oracle database on this platform, you can use Oracle Data Guard to replicate the database environment, or you can use storage based replication for any other workload which is preferred across industry. So you have that replication, all the software and licenses required to replicate that database, or the of course Oracle Data Guard comes as part of Oracle database license. So the storage replication licenses are included. The storage encryption is also included. Most of the customers, in fact every customer, wants to have security of their data, right? So security of the data is important. So encryption is followed by large by any customer or any organization as such. So that's where the storage based replication and storage encryption will help. And this, once you have the replication done, if in case of a failure at one site, how the switchover and failover has to happen, right? Most of the organizations follow certain methodologies. Today, I believe most of the organizations have already adopted automation of this process. You will never know that like a site has failed or site B has failed as a user, right? Then there needs to be an automation tool. Those automation tools are normally purchased or deployed as an external component, but as part of the private cloud appliance, we provide a component called SiteGuard. Oracle SiteGuard provides that failover switchover automation process. It's a tool which can automate your switchover and failover between these sites. So this is predominantly about private cloud appliance, how the environment will be, what all is included as part of private cloud appliance, and how you will deploy it, how fast you will deploy it, how easy to manage, how easy, how smooth to migrate to a public cloud environment or a switch between public and private clouds. All this is part of a private cloud appliance construct, I can say. And why I would say, like, why would most of our customers are preferring this environment, right? So there are customers who are looking for this kind of an environment for predominantly for consolidation, because every and any application can be deployed on this particular platform. So people are looking for a private cloud appliance as a consolidation platform. While it is a consolidation platform, we also provide high performance, because we have highly optimized this platform to run these applications and middleware with certain optimizations at the hardware and at the software level. Software, when I say system software level, and there are customers who have benefited in terms of how fast they could deploy, reduce time of deployment. Like if your deployment cycle goes for months and like maybe weeks and months, then there is a cost attached to it as well, right? So if you are bringing down the time to deploy, automatically your cost of deployment is also coming down. So there are many customers who have done that and benefited from that, and create and manage your own private cloud. You will be owner of your own cloud environment, and you can create a private cloud within your organization and be a cloud provider to your own users. So these are the reasons why most of our customers are preferring this particular platform. So with this, I will give it back to Mr. Sunil for the next part of the session.
Yeah, So, Ramakrishna, thank you for that very exhaustive and detailed presentation. So it was quite enlightening. So I think now let's
Thank
move on to the next part of the webinar. Now on to a fireside chat featuring Ananta Padmanabha, B, CIO of Karnataka Bank. Now, Karnataka Bank, based in Mangaluru, is India's 12th largest bank with over 11 million customers and a banking network across 24 states and union territories. So, recognized as a leader in the banking industry for its adoption of IT, the bank is now on a journey to embrace consolidation of its IT assets to drive higher utilization, self-service capability, and unified management while laying down a foundation for future requirements such as cloud native technologies, which we have just heard about, and artificial intelligence, machine learning, and analytics. Anant, the group CTO, will talk on how Oracle's private cloud appliance plays a crucial role in this digital transformation. Now, just a note here, we could not get Anant live, so this is a recorded session, but it is still quite interesting. So now let's listen to the recorded session of Ananta.
Hi, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us during this session. Now, we'll be talking to one of our customers, Karnataka Bank, who have recently purchased a couple of Oracle private cloud appliances. And they were extremely happy to participate in this success story on the basis that, when we delivered the PCA to them, they received it on a Saturday and they were able to start using it on a Sunday. And in the words of, Mr. Ananta, the CIO, this was the fastest stand-up that they've ever seen, and they were more than happy to give us a video reference. And so this is where we are. Can you tell me a little bit about your role in Karnataka Bank? What is it that you do in this organization?
Presently, I am. My role is as a Chief Technology Officer. I am in this position since last 3 years. Before that, I was in charge of overall heading the technology department almost like 15 years. Mm-hmm. My role in this bank started in 1995 since last 26 years, I am serving this bank in the technology department.
Wow, so you're a very, very committed employee to the company, and obviously, you've worked very, very hard to get to where you are. So my question then for you is that, obviously, Karnataka Bank has to evolve with the time. Things have changed a lot over the last 96 years, right? How is Karnataka Bank embracing, IT? What's your strategy around IT, and in particular, what's your strategy around cloud technology?
We started our automation journey itself is in 1995. Then onwards, we went into the total automation, and then we started our journey of a core banking implementation in year 2000. We are the first movers in this core banking implementation. Since last 21 years, we are in the core banking solution. So our adoption of technology is getting changed year on year, and since last 3 years, we have one more strategy what we brought is a technology modernization, wherein which with the customer first digital banking approach, we adopted the IT application architecture, we adopted a system architecture, we adopted a new technology on security architecture, we adopted an information architecture. In that, specific to the system architecture comes into picture, we started implementing the adoption of cloud, wherein which we wanted to use of the container services to the scale of agile and digital way of working.
Okay, so it sounds like you're really up to speed with all of the the new cloud native technologies and containers and agile development and stuff like that. Was that one of the projects for which you purchased the PCA systems?
Yeah, that is true. But in the present, before going for PCA, we were having a lot of challenges to maintaining a multi-systems. Now, after having a detailed understanding on the newer technology and newer adoption, we have gone ahead with the PCA adoption.
Okay, cool. So I think what you're saying there, a lot of people would agree with that. It's a lot of technologies to pick from. It's very hard to maintain different systems. So, your strategy of consolidation and simplifying makes a lot of sense, right? And I certainly hope that we are able to deliver that for you, right? Is there anything in particular? So I know you must have gone through a very extensive vetting process. Can you tell me, one or two things why you picked the PCA? What made it stand out for you?
Yeah, the main challenges in the existing system we faced is multiple teams used to handle the physical servers. That was again a challenge, and updating a security patches, upgradation of versions, and migrating into the new version was again the challenges. And there was no unified consoles, so we were looking for multiple system, or in a single system we wanted to see the unified console or a dashboard. And the other challenges we started facing on the multiple patching. It will increasing the cycle of risk also, and a lot of downtime also we started facing on that part. And another major adoption, we are cut down our Oracle license cost. So with this type of adoption, it becomes easy to manage the entire licensing requirement of the bank, and it becomes a total cost benefit also to the bank. And there was also need of a bigger storage box. So with this integrated approach, it becomes very easy to manage. And it is going to be an engineered box, wherein which entire ownership, whether it is a network, it is a support, or a Linux, or a database, it is getting supported by the one single company.
Okay. So it sounds like, as the Oracle's messaging around engineered systems where everything was integrated and simplified and unified was something that you found really valuable. Would that be correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, excellent. Good. So you also mentioned your Linux and stuff. Do you use a lot of open source software in your organization?
Yeah. We are using a lot of open source, especially on a database front, and some here and there some applications also we are using open source.
Okay, all right. And do you use? Okay, I'm assuming that you have commercial off-the-shelf software as well as in-house development as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, all right. And when you do your in-house development, do you use a lot of?
We are also having a local partner to develop some of our application in-house. Okay.
All right, cool. And can you tell me, without revealing any secrets or anything like that, can you tell me what kind of applications or services you plan on running on the PCA?
So PCA applications is more on the not a transactional systems. We are more focusing on to the other applications wherein which there is a heavy databases requirements are there. Finally, to start with, we are trying to consolidate our Oracle license requirement. Finally, with the new feature, whether it is also can handle the other databases also. Whether it is a Windows or other database also, it can be handled. That is what here we are exploring on that part.
Okay. So you're exploring the ability to run Oracle and non-Oracle workloads on the PCA. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right. And, obviously, there's going to be a lot of integration work and stuff like that. And, you obviously have a lot of partners that you work with, right? Can I ask a question then around, do you have a plan of integrating some kind of public/private cloud hybrid model in your environment?
As it is, we don't have any much focus on a public cloud because of our own limitation or because of compliance requirement of the regulator. So we wanted to start or continue our journey for next few years with our private cloud appliances only.
Okay. So yeah, I understand that, compliance, especially for a bank, it's very, very stringent. So you have to be very careful about what you run in a public cloud. So the fact that the PCA is engineered using open source cloud-based technologies like Dockers and containers and stuff like that, does that have any value to you?
Yeah, we are also started our own journey of digital center of excellence, wherein which we are developing our own product, wherein which we are also started using a newer technology like with the cloud native environments like Dockers, Kubernetes, that and all is getting explored.
Okay, cool. So, I'm guessing that, the fact that Oracle is also a big, supporter of Linux, you would have heard that, Wim Cookert, one of our senior vice presidents, is on the Oracle Linux board. So, it's Oracle has a big involvement in open source. And obviously, this year being the 30th birthday of Linux, it's come a very long way since it first started, right? So let me ask a question that I know this is probably a very a new product to you, but could you tell me a little bit about your experience so far with the PCA? What do you think about it so far?
Yeah, our journey of PCA started around 4 months back, and lot of things are getting migrated to the newer box, and we are also in that process. We are also doing a database migration also, and as of now we are getting a lot of comfort based on the overall decision we have taken.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know that things are working out well for you. Can I ask, when is the PCA currently in production use, or is that coming in future?
It is already in production use. It is already in production use.
Excellent. That's very good to hear. Very good to hear. And can I ask, roughly speaking, how much of your project for the PCA has already been completed, right? Are you all done, or is there more to go?
More than 50% of our planned movement to the production is already successfully completed, and it is running without any issues.
Oh, I'm very, very pleased to hear that. Thank you very much for letting us know that kind of thing. So obviously, you have been working with Oracle for a while prior to this purchase. Is there any, one or two or three comments that you might make to Oracle for how we could have made this better for you? How could we have made this experience better for you?
It is a very difficult question to answer. Still, I will try. So the relationship with the Oracle, especially my specific relation, started around 25 years back or 26 years back.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah. The whatever the hardware acquired, we are having a very, very comfortable approach with the Oracle on this part. And coming days, we wanted to further improve upon overall our cost benefit. So the overall investment on my not only hardware, not only on networking, not only on my database is also creating a lot of additional burden to the bank. So with this type of consolidated approach and overall and maintenance also. So overall, with this consolidated approach, if I can reduce my overall cost, it becomes a very, very easy. So further, we are expecting some more comfort we wanted to get from the licensing angle also.
Okay. Yeah, so I think you're saying exactly the same thing that a lot of other customers are also saying around consolidation, cost management, better return on investment, lower TCOs, all the essential things for every kind of business, right? That totally makes sense. Okay, cool. So now that you've got your PCA in production already and it seems to be running well, what are the future plans for that PCA and for your services?
So we are also planning to do some things on analytics also. And it is so in the analytics front, we wanted to explore, and we also wanted to big data analytics. We also wanted to go for something on artificial intelligence and the machine learning. So we wanted to use this infrastructure for doing all our future plans.
Wow, that's yeah. I think I heard a lot of people talking about AI and ML and analytics, and also obviously, you have a very long-term vision and very strategic focus on the bank and stuff. And I'm pleased that we are looking to try and help you with that as well on the PCA. Okay, so that's pretty much all I had for today. I want to thank you, Mr. Ananta, very much for your time today. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I'm glad to hear that you're having a good experience with the PCA, and I hope that continues. I really appreciate your faith and your trust in Oracle to help you with your strategy. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you and namaste.
Namaste.
Okay, so we just had very interesting insights from Ananta. So it's great to hear them. Now I would like to take it back to Ramakrishna for Oracle customer use cases. Ramakrishna, if you can.
Yeah, let me share my screen again. Actually, it was a great insight from Mr. Ananta talking about various use cases. I think he has covered the most of them in terms of consolidation, reduction in terms of cost, deployment cycle, faster deployment, all that he has talked about. We have many more such references within India as well as outside India. But yeah, so some of the prominent examples or the customer references we would like to highlight here in terms of use cases. Of course, we will keep on adding those references day by day. One of the prominent one and very long relationship what we had with NASA. So there is a jet propulsion laboratory within NASA for deep science network studies. So they had more than 300 plus legacy servers, which they have migrated to this private cloud appliance platform, and they have seen a huge consolidation ratio. When we are talking about 300 plus servers are migrated to just 6 private cloud appliances across 6 different locations, of course, managed from a single dashboard. That's a huge consolidation. And if you're talking about a data center footprint, I can easily see that there is a 10 times reduction in terms of data center reduction, right? So that's one of the use case. They have a published one. It's a publicly available reference for a detailed environment and deployment. What they have done, you can go through the public link which is available. It's a publicly available reference. And the other one is Secure 24 is one of the hosting service provider. They have seen a huge reduction in terms of acquisition costs, deployment costs. As I was mentioning as part of my presentation earlier, time to deploy is also a huge cost. So if somebody is taking more than 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, then the resources deployed during that time frame is going to cost the organization a lot. So if you are able to bring up the system in hours, right, maybe a 6 to 8 hours kind of a time frame, if you can bring up the entire appliance with all the environment on it, then you are saving huge costs. That's what actually has happened with Secure 24. They have deployed multiple Oracle applications. One is they have consolidated all those Oracle applications in starting from JD Edwards to PeopleSoft, Hyperion, eBiz, everything they have consolidated onto this highly optimized platform for Oracle applications. And at the same time, they have brought down huge costs in terms of deployment. The other one, what we have is a retailer who has actually done that. I was mentioning about create your own cloud environment. So they have created a platform within their group. ICA being a large retailer, they have created a platform, a cloud platform, of course, within their group to provide Oracle as a service. So all the Oracle applications as a service is being offered, which are deployed out of this particular box of a private cloud appliance and being served across the organization users and departments, right? So that's another use case. So in total, whether you are looking for a consolidation, performance, cost reduction, faster time to market, or create your own private cloud environment, this is the best platform to deploy. So and I would like to end with the most and critical part of the any infrastructure solution, right? The support part of it. So as part of Oracle Engineered System support, PCA being one of the engineered systems, we have a platinum support is being provided to the customers of private cloud appliance, and the platinum service offers complete remote fault monitoring and solution through a gateway server being deployed to connect to the Oracle support center, and being monitored and pre-alerting the customer with pre-failures or intended failures in the hardware environment. Of course, hardware means there is a possibility of failures if there is a hardware or an infrastructure which is deployed, and that is being monitored and a pre-failure alert to avoid huge downtimes, right? And then notifications over remote connectivity, fall debugging of the environment with the support team remotely. Patch deployment is one of the critical thing which Mr. Ananta also mentioned in his chat with Sam, that patching of various components, right? If you have compute server separate, storage separate, and then the other environment which within the system in terms of like network and other components, right? So for everything there is a different patch if it is applied, and the patching cycle is different. It becomes a pain for the customer. Every, like, at any given point in time, the user or the system administrator would see that his system is not completely patched. One or the other component is still to be patched, right? So that's where this approach of a platinum support can help the customers a lot. PCA being an engineered system, we provide a bundled patch, means the entire PCA comes with a single patch, a bundled patch to address compute, network, and storage components within that PCA at once. So the patch is applied at once, and this kind of a patch updates are available only 4 times in a year, maybe a quarterly patch what we release, and that will completely bring down the patching cycle for the customer, and that can be remotely deployed by our platinum support team without even customers physical efforts, right? Customer can leave it to our platinum support team to deploy those patches, and of course customer has the discretion to take a decision in terms of when and how the patch needs to be deployed, right? Because obviously you will have your production environment running, and you will have your own requirements in terms of when to apply the patches, and it cannot be seamless every time, all that, right? So that patching discretion is given to the customer, but remote patching team can make it simple for your environment, for your life, right? So that's one important aspect in terms of a support which is offered as part of a private cloud appliance. And just to summarize, I just wanted to like bring up the key points, right? Whenever you are looking for a private cloud appliance, the entire cloud stack is available to you. The OCI compatible APIs and management tools, which are exactly like a public cloud environment in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, cloud portability between public and private clouds, how easily migrate your workloads across public and private cloud native environment to create a development environment for your developer teams to bring up cloud native workloads, containerized workloads, all that, and modernized infrastructure in terms of high performance, highly scalable and secure environment, easy to provision, having a business continuity, no downtimes when you are actually doing some kind of an upgrade or a patch update. You doesn't need to have a downtime. It's a zero downtime upgrades. And the other aspect is the application modernization, right? Application modernization involves methodologies like CI/CD, how easily you can deploy your modern applications with the CI/CD pipeline, and a direct connect to Exadata kind of platforms to avail the high database performance at very low latency connectivity with the application tier, and further enhancements and modernizations in the application. So this to summarize, this is the next generation secure cloud within your data center, and you can just develop your workload once and deploy anywhere you want, be it a public cloud or a private cloud. It's the same look, feel, tools, management, everything is same. So you can just deploy wherever is needed, but just develop once and deploy where it needed. With this, I conclude the session. Let me put it back to Sunil for the Q&A part of the session.
Yeah, Ramakrishna, thank you for an overall very insightful and engrossing session. Actually, we are totally out of time for the Q&A session, but I think we can probably have time for one question. So maybe if you can answer one question briefly, we can end with that. So what are the target applications for this appliance?
See, as I mentioned, the platform is designed for consolidation. So any and every application which can run on the operating system platforms which I have shown, right? It maybe it's a Linux platform, be it Oracle Linux, be it SUSE Linux, be it Red Hat Linux. There are even certain open source Linux platforms like Ubuntu and other things are also being tested and certified as such. And even the Microsoft Windows environment you can deploy it. So as long as you have an application which can run on these set of operating system platforms, it can be the platform for deploying that. PCA is the right platform. And at the same time, one more aspect is if because it is highly optimized for Oracle applications, you will see a huge difference in terms of performance when you are actually deploying Oracle applications and Oracle middleware on PCA platform. So it's you can run, to summarize, you can run anything and everything in terms of application, which is
okay, so
x86 based. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, with that, we come to the end of the session. So I'd like to thank Ramakrishna and the Oracle team. And on behalf of Dataquest and Oracle, I would like to thank all our participants today for joining this webinar. We hope you found it useful. And don't forget to fill in the feedback form on your way out. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, everyone. Bye.